Good evening and welcome to the January 21st, 2025 regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight, we're going to begin, as always, with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we're very fortunate to have our immediate outgoing Congressman David Trone to come up and lead us in the pledge. If everyone could please rise. Come over here to the podium.
Over there?
Yep. Right where the microphone is, so we can
Okay.
hear you loud and clear.
Ready, guys?
Ready. Let's do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Congressman. Next item on our agenda is reflection, and I'd like to call for a moment of silence, please. Thank you all very much. Next, we have approval of minutes. Tonight, we have one set of minutes to consider. It is from the regular meeting on Monday, January 6th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Okay, that carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, we have appointments, and tonight we have a couple of appointments and a few reappointments. What is the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the resolution of the City Council confirming the appointments and reappointments to the Ethics Commission, Gaithersburg Book Festival Committee, Gaithersburg Parks, Arts, and Recreation Corporation, Multicultural Affairs Committee. For an indefinite term to the Gaithersburg Book Festival Committee, Joella Paik. To the Gaithersburg Parks, Arts, and Recreation Corporation, Daniel Lokomsky from Pheasant Run, a term expiring in January of 2028. A reappointment to the Ethics Commission, a 3-year term for Donna Dixon, expiring January 2028. A reappointment to the Multicultural Affairs Committee, a 2-year term to Samir Hussein, a term expiring January 2027. And Washington Nsangu, a term expiring January 2027.
Second.
Thank you very much. And I will note before I call for this vote that it is Councilmember McNulty's birthday today, and we will be wishing him happy birthday. Thank you for making that motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that carries 5-0. I'm not seeing anybody in the room whose name we just mentioned, but we'll thank them when we see them. And I will note it's always a really good and helpful thing for people who are interested in getting involved in the city to join one of our city committees. They provide really meaningful, valuable input to the mayor and council. So we appreciate it. And, you know, it's a chance to meet like-minded people and see how the city works. So I recommend it. Next, we're going to move on to presentations. I'm going to bring all the council down with me for our two of our three presentations. And I'm going to invite Congressman Trone to join us as well. Please come on up here. As I mentioned, David Trone is our immediate outgoing member of Congress representing our district. He served us for 3 terms, and I thought it was important that we recognize his service because I've been at this for like 18 years. You guys most of you haven't even been alive that long. I've been at this for a long time, and I have to tell you, there has never been a better partner in our congressional seat, more responsive, more reliable, more likely to be seen volunteering in the community. And this goes beyond just getting us federal grants, which you've definitely done. It's a commitment to public service and to our community that comes from the heart, and he's been an amazing partner. And as a result of that, we wanted to proclaim that today is David Trone Day in the city of Gaithersburg. Let's give him a big round of applause. And I want to take a quick picture with Congressman Trone, and then I also want to offer you a chance to speak if you want to say a few words.
Okay,
But we're so delighted to have you with us. Come right into the middle.
Okay. Neil. In there, Mayor. Come in there.
Thank you. You want to say a couple
Yeah,
words?
good.
Please.
Yeah, it's great to see some young folks here today because, it's so important to get involved in the government. Because if you don't get involved in government, you won't have a chance to participate. And your ability to be there, bringing your ideas and your thoughts and your ways of looking at things, that's what makes our government stronger. And if we don't have that participation, we just don't get good government. And we should always be thinking about being a public servant, not just a politician. So I hate politicians, and this group here knows this is public service right at its heart, at its best, because there's not much pay, there's a lot of hard work, there's criticism that you get, it's often withering criticism, but you're here to get things done for the town of Gaithersburg. Like I worked hard to get things done for my district, the 6th Congressional District, which Gaithersburg has always been the heart of the district. And really, this city is such a wonderful city. What I love about it is the diversity. And you look around this room, you can see that diversity again. So I own a company, and I have 12,000 employees in my company, and I understand the diversity is what gives us different ideas. If we have different ideas, we're all stronger together. And our unity, as Nancy Pelosi always says, that's our power. So our unity is our power, but diversity is our strength. And that's what Gaithersburg has in spades. So it's been a real pleasure working with the mayor and everybody here in council. I mean, this is the A team. And we spent hours and hours together, and you guys have accomplished great things here, and we're glad to have been a small part of that. So thank you. And I've never had a day before. So that's pretty cool.
You got a day.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Okay. Now, what Congressman Trone may not realize is that he's about to share the day. I want to invite all of our Sabor Latino team members up here. Please come on up.
It's like a good group to share it with.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
So I'm going to read this background material. The annual after-school dance fund, Baila for Life Latin dance competition showcases a spectacular display of talent and passion as hundreds of Montgomery County students gather at the Music Center at Strathmore for a day filled with rhythm, energy, and dance. Supported by Montgomery County Public Schools, the event brings together dancers from various high schools for an unforgettable celebration of movement and competition. The event provides a platform for dancers to display their skills, creativity, and teamwork, with schools from all over the region competing for top honors in each category. For the 4th year in a row, the Gaithersburg High School's Sabor Latino dance team has won Best in Show in the senior division, along with placing first in several other categories. Their participation, enthusiasm, and dedication are integral parts of their success, and the city is so proud to recognize their efforts. And so, we are, just so you guys can see this first, we are proclaiming this GHS Sabor Latino Day in the city of Gaithersburg in recognition of demonstrating exceptional athletic ability and outstanding team spirit, and in honor of uniting cultures through the passion of dance in the community and beyond in the classroom. Congratulations on placing first in the cha-cha, merengue, salsa, Jack and Jill. I don't know what Jack and Jill is. Maybe someone could demonstrate that in here. And Best in Show divisions. And second in the bachata division during the 2024 annual after-school dance fund, Baila for Life Latin dance competition, proclaimed this 21st day of January, and signed by me. And I'm going to hand it to you. Give them a big round of applause.
All right.
You may have to stand back.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, tighten up, guys. Double row.
You guys know what to do. 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows. Down front, down front. Here we go, here we go. Oh, there they are. See them?
Well, that may be too low.
Yeah. No, we got it here. Franny, come on in. Franny, squeeze. There we go. Okay, wait, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there.
That's the official one.
All right, let me get unofficial one more time. Thank you. And one more over here. Thank you.
All right, just before you guys go, if anybody wants to say a word, you're welcome to do it. I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're welcome to do it. And if not, it's okay. But
Looking at each other. Oh, I get the mic?
yeah,
You might live to regret that.
thank you.
Mr. Ashman, thank you. I've been knowing Mr. Ashman a long time. I remember when you brought the book festival here.
It's coming back May 17th too.
You, all right.
Thank you for that plug.
Get reading. No, hey, yay. Okay, that's a Scarly, one of our captains. Yay.
Congratulations.
And Angel, one of our new members. But no, I just wanted to thank you. And Mr. Trone, we're honored to share your day. and thank Mr. Ashman and the council for the recognition. Sabor Latino in the last few years has been very successful, but we've been an organization around for a long, long time. And some of our alumni are here, so I want to thank them. And just know that we have hundreds more. And I just, I really appreciate the support and everything that dance is doing. In addition to sponsoring Sabor Latino, I'm also in Gaithersburg City opening a Latin dance studio. Well, it will be a dance studio in general, but we will feature Latin dance and social dancing as one of our avenues because, as you can see, the arts, that's what brings us together. And the history of this team and the arts and the way that those things have allowed for these young people in the history of my coaching and even before, because our team is celebrating 25 years this year that it was founded. And just what that involvement in these teams does for these young people and the lives of these young people is something that you just can't replace and you can't get it anywhere else. And so I really appreciate the support from the city and from whatever resources goes towards our program. And hopefully we can continue to expand and continue to expand into our community and just give more.
We're so proud.
Thank you. We're so honored.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I got to hold it. Oh, which way? This way.
Guys, good luck. Thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy my day. Good, thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. So an evening of celebration. Now we're going to turn it into an evening of hope as we talk about our legislative agenda and all the good things that can happen in Annapolis this year. We hope, we hope, we hope. Welcome to the podium, our Assistant City Manager, Tom Lonergan-Seeger, and members of our lobbying team, Teresa Hessler and Sarah Peters from AGR. Welcome. Take it away.
Thank you, Judd.
Good evening, Mayor Ashman and members of the council. For the record, my name is Teresa Hessler, CEO of Ashler Government Relations, and joining me this evening is Sarah Peters of Hush Blackwell Strategies to present our 2025 start of session report for the Maryland General Assembly. The 447th session convened on Wednesday, January 8th, and is the third legislative session for the Moore administration. This session looks a lot different from years prior, and it is due to a tough fiscal outlook and an overall uncertainty around what a new administration will mean for a blue state like Maryland. AGR anticipates there to be a robust debate around the demands for the electric grid and energy needs, as well as the implementation of the blueprint for education, Medicaid, and yet again, another year of tough decisions around a $3 billion state budget deficit. Maryland's leaders face the difficult task of balancing fiscal responsibility within the need to maintain essential services and support economic growth. Governor Moore has proposed a $67 billion budget plan aimed at addressing this shortfall through a combination of spending reductions and tax reforms. Key components of Governor Moore's proposal include spending reductions. The plan outlines $2 billion in cuts across various state programs and services. These reductions are a part of a broader initiative to enhance government efficiency and eliminate redundancies. Tax reforms. To generate additional revenue, the budget proposes increasing income tax rates for certain earners and corporate tax adjustments, as well as increases on specific industries. The proposal includes a reduction in the state's corporate tax rate to encourage business growth and investment. And finally, transportation tax and fee charges, such as limiting the vehicle trade-in allowance to only apply to sales of new cars up to $15,000. Governor Moore also announced details about his economic growth legislative agenda. The package includes budget investments and legislative proposals to strengthen Maryland's economy and build pathways to work, wages, and wealth. Per a recent press release, the governor's legislative proposal includes the Decades Act, which seeks to sharpen the tools in the state's economic development toolbox by revamping, relocating, and rebranding key business development programs. The Housing for Jobs Act, which aims to release constraints on the state's economic growth by addressing the largest line item on Maryland's budgets, housing. The RAISE Act, which seeks to expand and create new career pathways for good-paying middle-class jobs through high-quality registered apprenticeships in Maryland. And the Procurement Reform Act, which seeks to modernize the state's procurement processes, which would enhance efficiencies, accountability, competition, and small business access to state contracts. As with most sessions, there have been several changes in the membership of House and Senate. For Montgomery County specifically is the appointment of Delegate Teresa Worman, District 16, who will serve on the House Health and Government Operations Committee. We've also included in our larger presentation additional updates in both the House and the Senate. Each year, the General Assembly sees the introduction of several thousand bills, and this year is poised to be no different. As of today, there have been 395 Senate bills introduced and 497 House bills introduced, which mostly include just pre-filed and administration bills. As bills continue to be introduced, our team will continue to review bills for potential impact to the city of Gaithersburg. Throughout the year and into General Assembly, the city identifies key priorities, whether it be budgetary priorities or legislative initiatives. The city of Gaithersburg will be pursuing funding opportunities for 12 South Summit Avenue. Both the city and the AGR team will be working closely with key district representatives in Annapolis to navigate the best options to secure funding in the budget for fiscal year 2026. In addition to funding, the city has already been busy working at gathering intel on legislation to develop strategy and support, as well as amend legislation, including House Bill 20, which is cross-filed with Senate Bill 198, the Transportation Investment Priorities Act of 2025. AGR team arranged a meeting with the Maryland Department of Transportation to discuss a new process for the Consolidated Transportation Program. The city will also be advocating for amendments to ensure municipal projects are given the consideration necessary. House Bill 272, which is cross-filed with Senate Bill 236, Maryland Department of Planning, Modernization. The city requested an amendment which would replace or include the reference to projections from the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission and would interchange these with projections from the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. This approach aligns with the legislative intent of fostering coordinated and comprehensive planning efforts that will benefit not only Prince George's and Montgomery counties, but also neighboring counties and the entire state. They have also weighed in on House Bill 74, the legal advertisement or legal notice of publication in newspaper or newspaper in general circulation, digital newspapers. The city has requested an amendment which would expand the clarification and definition of newspaper or newspaper in general circulation, which would offer a meaningful and practical step forward for communities seeking to reach their audience more efficiently and affordably. Additionally, the AGR team continues to arrange and coordinate meetings, such as with the Maryland Department of Energy and Administration, to identify possible grant or funding opportunities as energy sources are considered at the new location of 12 South Summit Avenue. And with that, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the report, appreciate the work. We obviously do have some work to do on 12 South Summit. It was perhaps the worst possible year to try to get it on the governor's in the governor's budget. I get that, and I think through all the meetings that we've had and that you guys have been present for and helping lead the way, we have some ideas for strategies for setting the table for either getting some into this budget or setting the table for future, putting holds or whatever that the little, I wouldn't say tricks, but the little strategies they have in Annapolis for budgets. We're going to have to employ all that stuff, I'm sure. But let me open it up. Questions, comments from anybody? Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the update. Understanding it's going to be a challenging year, and people are going to be fighting to keep their pet projects and keeping their funding. Do we have any concerns about any of the existing projects that we already keeping eye on that it'll just kind of get very patrician and people are just going to be looking out for themselves? Or do you think that there's opportunities for kind of groups to band together and support their projects that they're hoping to get through this year?
I think it's going to be an evolving 90 days, certainly with a lot of different conversations and changing. We may see a supplemental budget this year. And so certainly it's something Sarah and I will continue to keep our eye on and keep the council and you, Mayor Ashman, updated with as things evolve and change. And what we're hearing in Annapolis, I would say as of right now, it's too early to really have sense of session. So we'll continue to stay on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
At first I was not on the Maryland Municipal League Legislative Committee due to an oversight on their part, and they informed me that they'd like to have me rejoin that committee, and I went to my first meeting last week. Now, of course, they asked me would I like to rejoin before telling me that they're doing meetings in person now. So I'm committed to being in Annapolis at least once a week. But as part of that, we looked over the governor's proposed budget pretty thoroughly. We see that they're keeping their HURs, highway user revenues, are pretty much untouched. There's some play with county budgets, but it's unclear to me whether benefits that could be coming to counties would sort of make it a wash with some of the other changes that are moving expenses down from the state level to the county level. That I don't know, but hopefully at least the municipal level we're okay, we're stable. But we're keeping a close eye on that. I know you guys are doing the same. And again, I'll get to you in a sec, Jamil. What I find on the legislative committee, where we go over the bills that are anticipated to have some sort of impact on municipalities, a lot of the stuff that comes in is terrible for municipalities, and we end up having to oppose it, and most of it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, it's 90 days. I'm kind of glad it's only 90 days because it's less time for crazy stuff to come through. Jamil.
Hi, thank you guys. The budget's going to take a lot of oxygen, I would imagine, to try to hammer out how much revenue versus cuts. Do you see them, like, the things we're trying to pass that are maybe not revenue or budget related, does the budget go all the way? This is my second time sort of going through this process. Go all the way to the end of the session, or do you think they'll try to hammer it out earlier and get it behind them, and then work on the other items, or just how much? What's your crystal ball saying that?
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball, first and foremost. They have until about a week before session to pass the budget between both chambers. Hopefully, they are able to do so with that timeline, or it could extend session. I think, to my earlier point, a lot is in the air right now. As far as negotiations between both chambers, it'll depend on different committees getting involved, what big legislative priorities get jammed up as well. And so I think there's still a lot of back and forth to be seen.
All right. Well, with that, I'm not seeing any more questions. We appreciate the report and your work as always. Thanks for your partnership. And, we got, 80 more days? Something like that?
77.
77. Who's
Not that
counting?
you're counting.
Or more if it gets extended.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is public comments. This is the time the mayor and council like to hear from anybody who'd like to testify on any topic that is not a public hearing topic. And since we have no public hearings, basically any city-related topic you'd like. We ask that you state your name and address or neighborhood for the record. Keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. Do we have anybody in the room who'd like to testify? And I am not seeing anybody in the room. But I do see on Zoom, we have at least one hand up. If you're on Zoom and would like to testify, use the raise hand function and I'll call on you. Tech team, if you could bring up Robert Rogers, that would be great. Robert, just unmute yourself, state your name, address, or neighborhood, and go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Ashman and members of City Council. My name is Bob Rogers, and I live at 31 Booth Street in the Colonnade Condominium, which is part of Kentlands. First, thank you for your creative leadership to this amazing city. Next, I offer the following poem. It's called Gaithersburg as a Model of Transformation. Yesterday, the United States entered a new era of change, which many fear will be a time of conflict and wreckage. We can live in despair and wait for better times, or we citizens of Gaithersburg can demonstrate that we are living models of transformation. Yes, this great city of 70,000 has much to offer a new world that believes drill, baby, drill will help our economy rather than look for new and old ways to help our citizens move about while helping heal the earth. I live in Kentlands, where I can bike and walk to obtain lots of what my family of two needs to live. Indeed, this is a 15-minute village, one of the models of sustainable living which planners worldwide believe can help us out of our addiction to cars. Look at Rio, Crown, the new Lake Forest, as well as Kentlands. One could live without a car, especially if more encouragements were there. More bike racks are needed, but more importantly, encouragement that indeed one can obtain lots of life necessity on 2 wheels or feet rather than 4 wheels. Granted, we need cars for some things, like me going to get granddaughters for a visit, but we don't need to obsess and be addicted as we are to cars right now. What would happen if we reduce parking requirements, transform parking to force, build affordable housing for all while fostering communities connecting people rather than cars? What would happen if Gaithersburg decided that a small area near the barn at Borer Park could indeed become a small farm again, teaching folks how to raise food? What would happen if youth at Gaithersburg High and other schools were empowered to help create a real future for themselves instead of a future created by world social media and adults? There are so many ways that Gaithersburg can be a model of the city of the future that our children and grandchildren need so that their future can be as good as ours. Mayor, council member, city manager, and who are privileged to live in. How can we all make this dynamic place an even better model of transformation? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Do we have anybody else on Zoom who'd like to testify this evening? Not seeing any other hands go up. Okay. Well, we appreciate that, Bob. And we will move now to, let me see what's next up, from the mayor and city council. And we're going to start with council member Neil Harris.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. So I'll keep things brief. We had a good holiday yesterday with Martin Luther King Day. Hopefully everybody took a chance to remember the legacy of the great man. I heard there was some other thing happening in DC, but I wasn't really paying attention. Attended a ribbon cutting today for a new business in Gaithersburg, the Brighter Strides ABA Center, which I was happy to attend because this is an organization that provides services for young children from ages 2 to 6 who are on the autism spectrum. Being an autism parent myself, my son also went through ABA when he was a little one, and it was very helpful and something that that families with children in this situation really need. And it's great to have something right here in Bethesda. It's a really nice facility, so hopefully we'll spread the word. And I'll be taking a very chilly train ride down to DC tomorrow for the first Transportation Planning Board meeting of the year, so hopefully the metro won't freeze up on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. We'll go to Rob.
If it did freeze up, you know who to complain to. So,
I would.
happy birthday, Jim. That's all I got.
Okay. Well done. We'll go to Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a notice to read. For governance retreat, notice to the general public is hereby given that the mayor and city council of the city of Gaithersburg will conduct a governance retreat on Saturday, January 25th, 2025, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Carnegie at Washington Center, 10100 Washingtonian Boulevard, Gaithersburg, Maryland, 20878. The session will not be televised. The retreat is open to the public, but public comment will not be taken during the session. For more information, including the agenda, visit the city's website or contact the city clerk's office at 301-258-6310. And happy birthday to Councilmember McNulty.
All right. And speaking of the birthday boy, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, everybody, for the kind birthday wishes. This is not a big one this year. That was last year. So this is just another tick of the calendar. But appreciate all the kind words. I want to echo the comments of my colleague about Mr. Harris talking about MLK weekend. Amy and I had a chance to go away for the weekend down to Williamsburg, Virginia, and just touring the history. And we were in one of the church was founded in the 1600s. We had never actually gone in, had the chance to talk to some of the folks in there, and they mentioned that there is an ongoing restoration of the first black church in Williamsburg that had been lost to history, and they're actively going through the effort to rebuild it. And it just made me think about the work that we're doing with our Gaithersburg History Project here, and just being Martin Luther King weekend, it really hit me the important work that's being done to kind of reclaim some of that lost history, and contrast with the other things going on in Washington. It's important to remember our history. It's important to learn from our history. And it's important not to repeat some of the mistakes that we've made. And I'll just leave that there. I did have the chance to attend the MML opening day legislative reception with some of my colleagues here and some of our colleagues from Rockville. It was good to reconnect with our delegates from 17 and 39. Had a nice conversation with Delegate Lopez. And then we all went out to dinner and just continued to nurture that relationship with our neighbors to the south. So appreciated the opportunity to be there in Annapolis, and it was quite clear that Gaithersburg is much better at snow removal than some of our friends elsewhere in the state. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, thank you for the birthday wishes.
Thank you, Jim. We'll go to Jamil.
Just wishing Jim a happy birthday.
All right. I think Jim is on to something. Well, first off, happy birthday again. But I think he is correct. I've heard a number of complaints while we were in Annapolis about their snow removal, and we experienced it ourselves. But Annapolis is a wonderful city. It's wonderfully led. I'm friends with the mayor. He's a good guy. But yeah, we do snow removal better, thanks to our public works. And I'm looking at our acting public works director right now, and I hope you convey that. I did have a chance to attend a couple of Martin Luther King Day of Service events, the prayer breakfast on Saturday at the Bethesda North Marriott. And then yesterday I went to the Manna Food Center event at the Kid Museum in Bethesda, which I'd never been to the Kid Museum. It's really a cool place. Can't wait till my grandchildren are old enough to go and enjoy that, because it's really cool. Last thing I will note is that the book festival is coming up, Gaithersburg Book Festival on May 17th. And if you start looking now at the website, gaithersburgbookfestival.org, you will see a number of authors are already listed. We're still doing recruiting, but a lot of that is done, and so you can get a sense of what the program is going to be. It's going to be awesome. I'm hereby giving the public notice, we will not have a work session on Monday, January 27th. The next regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be on Monday, February 3rd at 7:30 p.m. And you can participate in person here at 16 South Summit, or you can participate through Zoom or watch us on social media on our YouTube channel. So we have that. And next we're going to move on from the city manager, who is perhaps one of the happiest people in the city of Gaithersburg. Actually, I'm surprised no one talked football up here from the mayor and council, because
I restrained.
just leave it. Okay, I'm gonna leave. Let's leave this to Tanisha. Go ahead, enjoy this moment.
It's because no other team matters, right? They're still playing. So I don't have a report, but thank you for that opening, Mayor Ashman. I will take the opportunity to congratulate my alma mater, The Ohio State University Buckeyes, who won the national championship last night against Notre Dame. It was a great game. I stayed up for all of it, and probably too late after that, because I couldn't come down off of that. Buckeyes are history making. I know I'm deep in Terp country, but at least we are Big Ten brothers and sisters, so we can celebrate together. And we won the first CFP national championship 10 years ago, and had the honor of winning the first 12 playoff national championship last night. It was not a pretty season, and I think the young men showed great resilience and the strength of the Buckeye. So we have two other illustrious alum who work for the city of Gaithersburg, so I wish them also congratulations. And I know we have lots of Buckeyes around town, because I see the stickers and the car decals everywhere, and I imagine you might see more coming in the coming weeks. I've got an order in already, so if you know how to make Buckeye candies, I'll accept those as well. So congratulations. But I'll stop now. I'm very happy. It was a rough season. It was a good one, and we're proud. So
Enjoy it.
yes.
Buckeye's a nut, right?
The Buckeye is a poisonous nut. So
So don't
Take that for what it's worth.
if anybody serves you that, don't eat it. Okay, we're gonna go to our
Chocolate
economic
kind,
development
not
update. Tom Lonergan Seeger.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy birthday, Jim.
Thank you, Tom.
Just one item for you tonight, everyone. Happy to announce that the application for the moderately priced dwelling units, MPDUs, at the Carnegie at Washingtonian Center, the city's newest senior living community, is now available specifically for the independent living units. A total of 28 independent living units are available through this offering, with the base rent for a one-bedroom MPDU at $1,860, two bedrooms at $2,136. Eligibility requirements: at least one member of the household must be 62 years of age or older. You must live and or work within the corporate city limits of Gaithersburg. If you're retired from a position within the city limits, you could also qualify. Montgomery County residents and or employees may be eligible, but only if there are not enough eligible applicants from Gaithersburg. You must earn between 50 and 80% of the most recently published area median income, and you must have the ability to pay the property's community fee, which is a non-refundable fee not to exceed 2 months' rent. Applications will be accepted and reviewed beginning yesterday, running through January 31st, that's next Friday, at 5 p.m. Interested applicants can complete an application online by visiting city's website, Services, Housing Services, and you'll specifically see Carnegie Senior Living, or complete a physical copy of the application at City Hall. Housing staff will be happy to help. At this time, only independent living units are available for rent in the MPDU program. As you know, we also worked out a deal to have assisted living and memory care units that will also be available, but city staff is working closely with the management team at Carnegie on pricing and other details, and hope to have an update on them for you soon. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you. That is going to be a hot ticket.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move to ordinances, resolutions, and regulations. Brian Fields, Acting Public Works Director. It is all yours.
Good evening, Brian Fields, Acting Public Works Director. This item is seeking council approval of a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with O'Connell and Lawrence for owner's representative services for the build-out of the 12 South Summit Avenue office building. In preparation for the renovation of 12 South Summit, the city is assembling a team of 3 professional firms that will help the city achieve its goal of delivering the project on time, on or under budget, and with a very high level of quality. This team consists of, first, the architect, Mans Woodward, who's already under contract and working on the architectural design and interior programming. Second firm is the owner's representative, which we're here for tonight, or we call the PMC, Project Management Consultant, O'Connell and Lawrence, who performs day-to-day project management on behalf of the city, essentially an extension of the city's staff, but with expertise in this type of interior office build-out. The last member of the team will be the Construction Manager at Risk, or CMAR, which is a contractor that performs the construction under a guaranteed maximum price. The RFP for those construction management services is currently advertised with a due date of February 3rd and a planned contract award date that we'll be bringing back to council in late February. These 3 firms will all be under separate contracts with the city, and they will work collaboratively with us through the design and construction process to keep the project on track. The owner's representative services are broken down into 2 phases, with phase 1 consisting of the pre-construction services, which run through calendar year 2025, and then phase 2 will be construction and post-construction, with the project finishing up in early 2027. This item tonight, again, is to authorize the award of owner's rep services for phase 1 only. Turning to the procurement process, last March, we issued an RFP for on-call architectural and engineering services. It included this category of owner's representative services. We decided not to award an on-call contract for these services, but later on in the year, when we desired to procure owner's rep services for 12 South Summit, the firms who submitted proposals in this category in that RFP reevaluated for this specific project, and a short list of 3 firms was selected by city staff. All 3 firms were interviewed, invited to submit price proposals for phase 1. 2 proposals were received. 1 firm backed out at the last minute. First proposal was Redgate. Their price was $113,500. The second was O'Connell and Lawrence, whose price was $366,450. Although Redgate was highly qualified and had a much lower price, we did not find their proposal to align with the level of effort that we felt like was needed to properly complete this task in terms of the number of hours needed or their understanding of the project. O'Connell and Lawrence, on the other hand, demonstrated that they clearly understood the desired work effort, and they provided a highly qualified local team of professionals who have experience in delivering similar projects to local governments using the CMAR method. Staff recommends awarding the Phase 1 contract to O'Connell and Lawrence in a not-to-exceed amount of $366,450. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate the work that's gone into this. I know we have some questions. Shall we start with Jamil?
Sure. I'll be brief. I just have 2 questions. Thank you, Brian. On the 366K, what's your level of confidence that that covers the scope necessary to do that? And if we were to exceed it, what would be the most likely reasons why?
We're confident that the 366 is appropriate for these services. Two reasons, really. One is the city controls and authorizes the work to be performed. They are an extension of our staff, as I mentioned. The only way they go over that amount is if we ask them to. And then secondly, it's a not to exceed, and there's a long list of tasks that we believe have full effort budgeted here, again, in that not to exceed amount. So that could be scaled back, more likely that it would be scaled back. We do not anticipate adding tasks beyond the current scope, which would increase the overall cost. Second question was, what would cause the cost of the services to increase? Most likely if there were an unforeseen time extension to the job where they had to stay with us for additional months beyond the 1 year phase one, that could be caused by delays in design, or perhaps if construction costs are really high and we had to go through more cycles of review, changing the plans to bring that cost into alignment with what we have. Lastly, I guess if they're an extension of staff, so if our staff became depleted at some point and we needed more hours to offset that, that could be one scenario, but we don't anticipate that.
Thank you.
Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Brian, for the announcement here. Question about the rate. So for a project management arena, this is a little on the high side. So do we see resumes and to see the experience that is associated with that rate, and do we have right of refusal?
First part of the question is yes. We have a full proposal with resumes, and these are consultants with high level of qualifications. These are 30, 40-year experienced people that in a job like this where they're in an advisory management role, you don't really have the lower level production roles that come with lower hourly rates. So this comes with 1,846 hours total at an average of about $198 an hour. That is on the higher end for consulting fees, but again, it just doesn't have that lower level to kind of balance that out. But again, that is the maximum. It's equivalent of about one full-time person working for us over the course of the year. That is mixed up among different staff members, but it's just under a 2,000 hour a year.
Okay, and if they were to swap out along the way and introduce new resumes, do we have right of refusal?
We do.
Okay.
They have to request, we review and approve any changes in key staff members.
Okay, all right, perfect, thanks.
If I can add, we've worked with this team on other projects and other capacities, and we're very comfortable with them, have a high level of experience, and they've even consulted with us on the back end with some of our troubled projects that we might have wished we had them on the front end.
Okay, all right, good.
With that, would you like to move the resolution?
Yes, I move, so moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll let Leah sort out who seconded it first. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Next, Mark Kyle. We're going to talk about traffic signal and improvements at Russell Avenue and Watkins Mill.
Thank you, Mayor. Give me a few moments. I will get to the slides and an aerial exhibit to set us up.
Take your time. We're good. We're not going anywhere.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This resolution would authorize the city manager to negotiate and enter into a contract with Baldwin Line, Inc. for construction of a new traffic signal and associated improvements at the intersection of Russell Avenue and Watkins Mill Road. A signal warrant study was performed based on reported complaints to staff, as well as observation for the intersection by staff as well. Traffic signal warrant was completed in February 2023. This study met 3 of the 9 traffic signal warrants for a new signal. Baldwin recently successfully completed traffic signal improvements for the city at the intersection of South Summit Avenue and South Summit Avenue and East Diamond Avenue. To complete this construction work, the city will be using Montgomery County's current contract with Baldwin. Baldwin Line, Inc. has extended Montgomery County's pricing to the city for this work, which provides the city with volume pricing benefits. The exhibit before you this evening is the intersection that we're looking at, overlaid on the existing conditions, without snow, of course, and ice that we have out there today. This also has proposed improvements as well. This intersection is considered a T intersection, which looking at the intersection, Watkins Mill Road runs east-west with Russell Avenue running north-south. The proposed intersection improvements shows the traffic signal poles with mast arms in the median of Watkins Mill Road, new pedestrian countdown signals and audible pedestrian signals, 88 sidewalk ramps, new signal cabinets, pedestrian refuge island on Russell Avenue, lighting on a mast arm, westbound left lane extension, and new pavement markings. The city's traffic evaluation indicated a new traffic signal will reduce angle crashes, which is approximately 50% of the incidents at this intersection. It is expected that the construction will take approximately 5 to 6 months to complete this project, which is reduced from the normal duration of a new traffic signal project since the contractor has much of the materials already in stock. Staff will provide periodic public outreach to the surrounding residents to keep them informed during the progress of this work. The project will require periodic lane closures, sidewalk closures, and some police direction support at times. Staff is recommending approval of this resolution with a total not to exceed amount of $569,000. At this time, I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Mark, thank you very much for the presentation. I'm really excited about this one. From a layman's standpoint, I understand that there was public input here. A signal at this intersection really seems to make a lot of sense. So, and these sound like a great set of improvements for the intersections. I'm excited about it. Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree. This has been a challenge. I've had issues trying to get across this intersection in the past. So pleased to see this before us and looking forward to some of the other projects that are coming down the pipe. I did have one question, and it just struck me as I was listening to you and looking at the map, because you mentioned that there's going to be an audible pedestrian signal, and the intersection is pretty close to the back of these townhouses. Is there a shut-off time at night? Is there a minimum distance that they need to be or a certain volume? Because I know if I lived there and I heard that all the time, I would be pretty frustrated.
So the audible pedestrian signals can be changed. Sometimes it's regulated based on the traffic level of noise. So you kind of get some adjustment factors. Those are usually, we can adjust those if we see some of those concerns happen. And that's actually handled at Montgomery County's department that controls all the traffic signals. So we can work with them if we see those kind of concerns, but we do actually want to have that audible heard so that pedestrians can make that maneuver safely.
Sure. Okay. But I'm glad to hear that there's a mechanism if that does become a challenge. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay, Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mark, I don't have a question. I just want to tell you how excited I am about this intersection and the corrections that are going to happen. I often practice my Indy 500 skills on this intersection just to turn left onto Watkins Mill. You can take your chances sometimes in that intersection. So bravo on the work that's going to be done, and the neighborhood has got to be just elated and for what's about to come. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
Jamil.
Was it last year we got a tour of the Montgomery County Traffic Center location? I was pressing a lot of buttons there, and they were showing us the different types of technology that's being adopted in the county for the signalized intersection. And one that was interesting was the camera based on where it could detect whether there's a car or not and therefore change versus the classical one where it's the metal plate. Which one are we using here?
We are using the video detection. It's fully, so one of the things we are trying to get away from loops. Loops are kind of a maintenance item. Some of our existing signals do have that, but in this particular case with the video cameras, it provides us an opportunity, one with construction, to try to limit the impact at the intersection when work does come through. So it limits the impact to the signal itself, keeps the operation going. But in this particular case, it's full video detection, and it gets modified. We're going to using the best practices, having an extension pole, which is a recent development with a lot of the signals in the county as well. So we're using some of the newest technologies in this signal.
So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you haven't pulled up to the loop, you're not stuck there waiting and waiting because they'll kind of figure out where you are. I know that's happened to me a lot.
2 o'clock in the morning, it might be under flash.
Okay.
Flash condition.
Sure.
Yeah, it during those normal parts of the day, it will detect and
Keep things moving safely. Thank you.
Rob?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mark, for the presentation. Just two questions. One is, so we construct the light. Do we maintain the light, or do we hand it over to the county for signalization?
So Montgomery County does the maintenance for us. We own the facility and the equipment, but at the end of the day, they operate it. If something kind of goes awry, we give them a call, we coordinate with them, and they are able to help us get that back up in operation.
Okay. And then second question is, do we own Watkins Mill Road on this side?
In this particular stretch, it is ours, the city's. So we fully control this. It's in our domain.
Thank you.
What's that?
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay. Would someone like to move the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Carries 5-0. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excited about that project. Okay, we're going to invite Rob Diebert, project engineer from our Public Works, to talk about contract for Lake Walker outfall repairs. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The resolution I bring before you tonight is to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract for construction services at Lake Walker outfall repairs. A requirement for Maryland Department of the Environment Dam Safety Program is to ensure all dams are designed, constructed, operated, and maintained safely to prevent failures. Responsibilities include conducting safety inspections on an annual basis and doing these inspections based off the hazard classification that they have. On October 16th, 2024, the city issued RFB 2025-009 to obtain pricing for availability, goods, and services of a qualified contractor to protect Lake Walker Dam, identified as Maryland Significant Hazard Dam number 54. The dam has severe erosion, and a lot of areas are growing around the plunge pool area where storm water is discharged from the pipe. The pipe is moderately large, 33 inches in diameter, and that will be replaced along with the head wall that has collapsed into the plunge pool. On December 10th, 2024, the city received one responsive bid proposal, and that was from Stormwater Maintenance LLC in an amount of $247,500. Stormwater Maintenance LLC provided a responsive, qualified, and fair bid proposal meeting our project scope needs. And they're also using a minority business enterprise credentialed contractor as well for a portion of the work. Staff therefore recommends award to Stormwater Maintenance Consulting for the Lake Walker outfall repairs in an amount not to exceed $270,000. That's $247,500 for the core services and an additional $22,500 to address unforeseen needs required to complete the services. There are sufficient funds in the stormwater fund. And are there any questions?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I guess my only question here, it seems like a worthy project for sure, is how does this interact with the potential redevelopment? I mean, we know redevelopment's going to happen in Lake Forest. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. Is there going to be any impact on this area during like the demolition and construction of Lake Forest that we should be aware of and time the project around, or are they totally separate, independent things?
They're separate, for a short answer. So there's actually two pipes that come out of that same embankment that run under Montgomery Village Avenue. So the pipe that comes from Lake Forest property, that's not this pipe that's being repaired. That one's fine. That one's stabilized. It is 15 feet right next to the pipe that collapsed, but the one that we want to repair is receiving runoff from Montgomery Village Avenue and like the Exxon station and just a small drainage area. It's nothing from the Lake Forest property is going to be involved in the repair.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
Just one question, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for the presentation. Is this repair in our right of way, or is it on private property?
So several years ago, right when I started, about 3 or 4 years ago, the Exxon owned the downstream embankment. Lake Forest property owns the upstream embankment, and the city maintains the principal spillway, the pipe that's in good condition right now. So technically, it is the Exxon's responsibility, but I believe there was an agreement of some sort that came up where we were trying to enforce them to fix it, but it ended up saying that it actually is our pipe that we have to maintain. So the plan is, after repairs, is to create a covenant document to transfer any future maintenance responsibilities to the Exxon owner.
Any further or good?
Probably not for here, but to understand kind of what the situation is.
Yeah. Okay. Any further questions or comments? Would someone like to move the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Carries 5-0. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate
Thank
it. Next, we have gone through our agenda. Next, we have from the city attorney. You have anything for us, Frank?
Actually, just a couple of quick updates. We did have kind of at the federal level a busy day yesterday, but I believe you, Mr. Mayor, had asked about and had a couple of other questions about the issue of Cheverly and Bladensburg arguing about annexing hospital redevelopment.
Yes.
Actually, we've got members of the Municipal Attorneys Association working on both sides of this. This is in litigation, and many of the questions are about the core concepts of the annexation laws, which require contiguous connection and also timing. And then there are lots of other separate contract issues involved in the litigation. But it looks like Bladensburg, timing-wise, was the first to proceed and complete their annexation process. So it was Cheverly suing Bladensburg to try to reverse that. We'll see how it turns out, but the issues are there's not a magic potion or any change from the basic annexation laws that are in place.
Well, I'm sorry to see our municipal brethren fighting as they are, but on the good side of it, we're going to get a chance from the sidelines to see what the lessons learned are
Right.
at the end and how it's resolved and adjudicated.
I mean, can we annex it?
Well, it's not,
No.
the contiguous question
Contiguous.
would be difficult there, even if we connect to a roadway. It's a little bit far away.
Frank, is that a public space that the reason that it wasn't Like
It's largely county-owned.
County-owned.
county-owned, so that's
And
how
that's
it was.
largely
Okay.
why there wasn't an issue of residence and
Right.
another process that you would go through.
Yeah.
So it's who claimed it first is basically the issue.
Well, we're going to find out
Yeah.
when it's adjudicated. But
Right.
that's what some of them think.
Yeah.
Right. Right. In terms of the annexation law, that's the case. Is there a different element of contract or tort that will come up? And since it's two or three fairly respected members of the Municipal Attorneys Association, we will see how that turns out in terms of how that works. In terms of something I had, I'll be brief, but in terms of something I had mentioned, I think in December, in terms of immigration enforcement, one thing that we had learned was that there were essentially sanctuary or sensitive areas in terms of schools and churches in particular, and an order was issued today that eliminates that sanctuary area. So certainly the information that I had noted last time is that there, under the police department page on our website, there is immigration resources, and the information there we have verified is accurate just as of a couple of weeks ago. So folks should certainly take a look at that. And my last very quick point is there is now litigation regarding the whole question of birthplace-based citizenship, which is also known as jus soli. That was an order also issued yesterday to not honor that in certain specific cases, and this was the case of if there's a foreign-born parent bringing a child in. 24 states that I last saw have joined, so that's actively in litigation. And I just thought it was important when I looked into it to know that that's part of the Fourth Amendment that was directly intended to overturn the Dred Scott decision that was 1857, that many would say was one of the final causes for the Civil War, and that there was actually an 1898 Supreme Court decision that looked at this specific issue and did hold that the jus soli birthplace-based citizenship is actually fairly traditional, going through looking at England and other sources of basic law, and that was the reason for that 1898 decision. Certainly, as in talking about the annexation, we'll see how that litigation turns out, but Maryland is one of the 24 states that is joining to challenge that decision. So, and I'm happy to
Mr. Mayor,
answer any questions, but just wanted to give a quick update on those because I know you might. Yesterday was a busy day and there might be a lot in the news.
Yeah.
Rob?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Frank, for the update. And just a question. In the past, we've been asked to participate amicus through various organizations. Do you foresee in any of this litigation in this area being requested, and have you thought through how you'd present that to us for decision?
It is possible. They have usually reached out. This was all today, so we haven't had much of a chance to have interaction, but we will be looking into that. It is not just states. San Francisco, for example, from California, is also part of it. So municipalities can be, and that may be something that we'll be bringing back, and we would do that formally.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Frank. Anything from any other staff? Tanisha?
I just thought that the Notre Dame alum would congratulate the Ohio State alum, but that didn't happen.
I was going to say that
That was item 4 on his list.
based on my background, I didn't really see the need to bring up football at all. I mean, we'll certainly see how the Commanders do.
Thank you.
So.
Okay.
Okay. Anything from any other staff? Not seeing anything. Okay. I will remind everyone we have our governance retreat coming up on Saturday. We do not have a work session Monday, January 27th. The next regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be on Monday, February 3rd. Until next time, let's do great things, Gaithersburg. We are adjourned.
Recording stopped.